If you have a bunch of flannel scraps left over from other projects, you can easily combine them to create a really cool looking scrap scarf. This is actually a very simple tutorial that will walk you through how to sew your scraps together for a more durable finish. You can use the pattern in the link below if you want to create a 60-inch scarf, but you can also create a scarf at whatever length you want. So the first thing that you want to do is arrange all of your flannel scraps. Lay out your fabric scraps and start to organize them in a way that is aesthetically pleasing to you. Basically, you're making a scrap collage that's going to be long enough to fit your scarf pattern. Remember that the scarf pattern that I made is going to need to fit twice on the scraps that you're making. It's totally okay for the scraps to be on the edges of the scarf pattern rectangle. You just want to make sure that the final collage is not too small. Remember to overlap the fabric pieces to account for seam allowance. I also want to note that this whole process is going to be significantly easier if you're working with straight edges. So I recommend cutting straight lines and right corners on your scraps whenever possible. After you're happy with your scrap collage, it's time to sew the scraps together. I like to do this in sections, so I will sew a chunk of the scraps together on one part and then another chunk of the scraps together, and then I will sew those larger chunks together until I have the whole length of the scrap scarf collage. Also, since we are working with flannel here, which is a woven fabric that frays, you want to make sure that you finish the seams as you go. I know this takes a little bit longer, but it does make the final scarf more durable in the long run. After you've sewn all your scraps together, you're going to cut out your scarf. Overlay the scarf pattern on top of your flannel collage and then cut it out. Make sure to cut out two of the pattern or cut it on the fold. I generally won't fold the collage in half to sew it. I will cut out one layer at a time and then just shift the rectangle down to the other side of the scarf to cut out the rest of the pattern. Now all that's left to do is to hem the scarf. So make a narrow hem all the way around the edges so that you have a nice neat finish and your edges aren't going to fray over time. And that's it. You have finished your unique flannel scrap scarf.